investors. I love the idea of the most prominent people in the black community kind of taking the lead on investing. I think that's really, really good for the people, and I'd like to see where this goes. So what I'll do is provide some insight into that. Now, to just remind you guys, for those who are new, we talk about intelligent topics for intelligent black people, and I want to welcome everybody from the Black Financial Channel. If you actually want to subscribe to the Black Financial Channel, just go to theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's where we actually do financial analysis and commentary every single day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, all the time, all kinds of financial news. So go to theblackfinancialchannel.com and check that out, or you may be on Your Black World TV. That's where I'm also simulcasted. So I want to say hello. I always say hello to everybody before I get started. I don't want you to think I'm just going to hit it and quit it and jump in and jump out. Let me say hi to DJ Dark Shades, Rasak, Kenneth, and I see a few others. Shout out your city also. Shout out your city, or shout out your business, your website or something like that. What's up, JX? How you doing? Roy Carter, how you doing? So shout out your city, and also give a thumbs up to the video. When you give a thumbs up, that actually adds people into the conversation with the algorithm. So y'all got to help a brother out. I'm a black man on the internet talking about intelligent stuff, which makes me far less popular than a rapper who can't spell his mama's name. If I was a rapper that couldn't spell the word ABC, then I'd probably have 10 million people watching. But I'm a black man trying to spread black intelligence, so I need y'all's help. I can't do it by myself. I see Pierre from Atlanta, Clayton from Philly, Michigan Stone from Detroit, Fresh from Jacksonville, Florida. Hello, Patrice Nicole. Good to see you. Donna Shelton from Birmingham. Let's see, Kenneth Randolph, Primo. What's up? Eddie Walker, Dwayne Robertson, Phoenix. My sister lives out that way. And Travius, Fayetteville, Mama Patricia, Arlington, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so let's jump into this. Okay, so what's up, April from Houston? How are you? Good to see you. The All Black National Convention, by the way, is going to be in Houston. It's a great event. We are going to sell out. I can guarantee that, because last year we almost sold out and we had a bigger space. This year the space isn't as big. We did that deliberately because I don't really want like a gigantic convention. I want a really good, warm experience for everybody. So if you want to come to the convention, go ahead and get your tickets now. So the weekend of September 27th, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Financial literacy. We're going to talk about everything from not just black wealth building, but also black health, black love, black politics, all these things. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys, Dad lives down in Houston. He's a good friend of mine, so I've invited him to join us along with Dr. Claude Anderson. He's invited Vicky Dillard from Fly Nubian Queen TV. Just real black people doing real stuff. We ain't looking for no celebrities. We ain't looking for nobody in politics and from the Congressional Black Caucus. None of that. Unless you're keeping it real for the community. If you keep it real for the community, then you're invited. If you're not, then you're not so. So we're not so interested in that. We don't need bullshit. We need real shit. So anyway, let me tell you what got me sitting down here tonight. I was looking. Somebody forwarded me a story about Will Smith and Nas actually making another what appears to be solid financial move. Wow, Michigan Stone says you influenced me to start this business. My man, he grossed 8,000. Wow. Michigan Stone grossed 8,000 last month. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lose my trend. See, you put exciting shit and you trigger my ADHD, man. You just triggered me, Michigan. I'm proud of you, brother. I'm proud of you. Give him a digital round of applause. Put your website, Michigan Stone. Everybody go do a cash mob on his business. I don't know what you're selling. You could be selling t-shirts, shea butter, nuclear missiles. It don't matter. Please support this brother's business. Put your website in there. If you ain't got a website that we can support, then that's all good too. But please give this brother a digital round of applause. I love hearing about black people starting businesses and finally getting that money. So sorry to interrupt. Forgive me, guys. I know some of y'all get mad at me because you be like, you don't stay on point. You always be sidetracking. You need to get to the point. I'm sorry. The point is successful black people. The point is black people winning. The point is all of us elevating and breaking bad cycles. So congratulations, brother. Digital round of applause to you. He says the business is floor cleaning and polishing. See, people don't get that, right? I watched the episode of Blackish tonight, and they were debating over whether or not the little kids should go to college and everything. And what people don't understand is that there's a lot of money in doing just really basic shit. Just putting a nice business model around something very basic. I've seen people become millionaires because they're like doing nails or they're selling like socks. Like seriously, like it's the basic stuff where the big prizes are won. Just so you know, that's where people make the big money. It's always the basic shit. So anyway, let me keep going. Sorry. Okay. So Nas and I was gonna say Nas and JayZ. I'm gonna say Nas and Will Smith are they're jumping into into the mobile banking industry with this app. The app is called Step, and Step is basically, I read it, I analyzed it. I love Atlanta Black Star, but I think Atlanta Black Star went a little bit too far. They basically said Nas and Will Smith invest in a mobile app to help teens gain financial literacy. Yeah, they might gain financial literacy. I mean, because those guys are financially literate and intelligent. I respect them, but that ain't why they invested in this company. I'm sorry. It's just being real. I hope I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I said I keep it 100. They invest in this app because it's a banking app. Basically, they are, seeking, this company, it appears, Step, is seeking to compete in the banking industry. Nothing unethical about that. Nothing wrong with that, right? There's banks everywhere. I told you guys in that video I did on drboystv.com what a billionaire told me about black people. And he talked about how Bank of America became a power play for the Italian community because it used to be called, they used to have Bank of Italy, which merged into Bank of America because they wanted to gain wealth in America. I've told you guys to read the book, How the Jews Invented Hollywood, which is written by a Jewish man. So it's not anti-Semitic for me to say this to you. I know that people think it's anti-Semitic to even say the word Jews, but I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm saying it in a complimentary way because there are ways to make these power plays. And so banking has been used by a lot of communities to gain economic power. So there's nothing wrong with Will and Nas investing in the banking industry. But let's just be clear. That's why they're invested in the app. This ain't no move to get, people, kids, teens financially literate. I think that what they're doing is they are the financial literacy story is kind of the feel-good story used to kind of get people engaged with the product, right? Like, oh yeah, we're going to teach you financial literacy by letting you control your own money and teaching you good money habits, and we're going to fulfill this need to be good corporate citizens. Yeah, but then you're going to start charging fees and loaning people money and making interest, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, though. Nothing wrong with that. Most of us have to bank somewhere. Banking happens. Banking's real. I have a bank. Why not bank with, a company that's, got Will Smith as an investor? I like Will Smith. I think Will Smith is great. I don't know Will. I've never met him, but I know his brother Harry. I like his brother Harry a lot. And I would invest in a bank run by Harry. Harry's very, very smart, by the way. Will Smith's family is really, really, really fucking smart, by the way. I'm telling you. I mean, Harry and I talked twice. And each time we talked for 2-3 hours because it was like talking to a relative. He is a smart guy. And I said, okay, if he's got siblings that smart in his family, in his circle, it doesn't surprise me that he's so successful. Just my 2 cents. I think Will Smith is one of the smart ones. I think he's one of the good ones based on what he's been doing with his life. I like what the guy's doing for the world. I think he's fine. But anyway, let me jump, because y'all know if he was cooning, we got the Butter Biscuit Coon Award that we give out every now and then for any Negro who shows extraordinary potential in the area of coonery. You got the raccoon and the dog and the tree. Vicky Dillard gave me this. By the way, Vicky, I think Vicky's fine. Original man, I'm going to check on her. I heard she's getting a procedure done. Check her, follow her on Twitter and Instagram. Just look up Vicky Dillard. Vicky sent me, she mailed this to me. This is the Coon Award, Meritorious Manumission Butter Biscuit Award. Meritorious Manumission is what they used to give slaves when slaves did a really good job of serving massa. So shout out to Vicky for the Coon Award. But I'm not going to pull out the Coon Award with Will Smith because I've never seen him. I mean, of course you got to do a little bit of cooning in Hollywood. Hollywood just kind of requires that. But for the most part, he's maintained relatively coon-free, so I respect that. But anyway, so let's get into it. So this app, Step, is basically, I read it, I looked into it. It sounds like it's a banking app. And what they're doing is they're engaged in the act of what a lot of startups are doing, which is a controversial business development strategy that really kind of came out of Silicon Valley, which is, you shovel a bunch of money into a company, you have losses for several years while you engage in massive customer acquisition and the building up of market share. And then later on down the line, you say, okay, well, how do we figure out how to go make money from all the customers that are on our app? And because I think that what they're doing in the beginning is actually offering, I could have sworn they said banking that was free of any fees. So there's no fees attached to the banking in certain areas. They have free accounts. where there is no fee. I mean, you can't get better than free. That's really cool. But obviously, you got to make your money somewhere. There has to be a business model somewhere. Never assume people are just doing things just to be nice. They're doing things because they eventually want to make money. But there's nothing wrong with making money. Nothing illegal about making money, as long as you ain't really trying to hurt people in the process, right? So I know there's going to be some Negro naysayers out there that might, because they believe any black person making money, it must be a criminal. They're going to, criticize and say, oh, they out here stealing, they out here robbing. No, you just mad because you're broke and they're not. Like, maybe if they were as broke as you, you'd be happy. Would you be happy if every black person was in poverty forever? Would that make you satisfied? No, that's not what we want. We want black people that are going to do well. It sounds like Nas and Will are invested in a company that doesn't, based on what I'm seeing on the surface, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything that's unethical, because at some point, some bank is going to grab these young people as customers. They're just kind of grabbing them a little bit earlier, which I think is great. Now, one of the things the CEO mentions, this guy named CJ McDonald, I have no idea who he is. I think that's the other thing I always wonder about, right? I would really love to know, when I see Will Smith and Nas, kind of as the poster children of this, not that they're children, they're the poster men, but y'all know what I mean. As the faces of this brand, I really want to know what that means. Because what a lot of the nerdy white guys in Silicon Valley have figured out is they've been like, hey, wait a minute, I got this new app. I need my app to be cool. So I'm going to go and get me a rapper, and I'm going to put a rapper or a famous black person on the face of this so that people will think that my product is cool as this rapper, right? And I think that's fine to a point, but I think that at least with me, that makes me want to see the fine print, because if you're not careful, you can end up with that situation with JayZ and in the Barclays Center, and what happened with when the Brooklyn Nets went into Brooklyn. I felt like that was a rope-a-dope done on the community. I felt like JayZ, unfortunately, I believe, I didn't like that. That deal did not sit well with me, because you had the perception that JayZ was going to be an owner of an NBA team, when the reality was that he owned far less than 1%. I think it was 1/15 of 1% of the team, right? So effectively, that's the model now. A lot of startups will go partner with people like a LeBron or whatever, because they know that all they got to do is tweet it out, and next thing you know, you got an extra million customers or whatever. Now, I think that's smart. I think it works well for everybody involved. I think the only thing is, I'm hoping that these individuals do due diligence to make sure that the company that's using their brand and putting them on the face of everything, they aren't just using them as a mascot to give them a license to exploit the people that trust that particular rapper, that particular actor. One good example, go watch Netflix and check out the documentary on the Fire Festival, FYRE. FYRE. It involves a rapper by the name of Ja Rule. You might have heard of him. He's he's like a rapper that used to have a career many years ago. He used to be a celebrated rapper. He used to actually make music that people wanted to buy, but until 50 Cent murdered him on wax, and then next thing you know, he was done, right? Y'all remember, you's a wankster and you never pop nothing. Y'all remember that, right? So 50 Cent, to his credit, as funny as 50 Cent is, he's really, I'm still waiting on him to grow out of his diapers, because that brother's real immature. But it is fine. But he's talented, though. Very talented, very smart. And he murdered Ja Rule's career. Just slaughtered it in broad daylight. Took his career out in the street, tarred and feathered it, chopped its head off, and then castrated it. And, and there was blood everywhere. It was terrible. So Ja Rule, apparently, though, Ja Rule still has a couple of fans. So because they brought him in on this project, a bunch of nerdy white guys brought Ja Rule in on this project for an app called Fire, F-Y-R-E. It was a great concept. The concept was we're going to allow you to book celebrities on an app, right? Just, you want to get, you want the Migos to come and mumble at your child's birthday party, and you got an extra 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever. You can just use the app and have or you want Cardi B to show up so she can maybe get somebody, maybe drug and rob some of the people at the party. Then you got them right there on the app, right? So it's a great concept. And they were going to do this festival around the app. And the festival was called the Fire Festival. And the problem for Ja Rule was that he was co-signing on very, very bad business practices. The guy who ran the company, the nerdy white guy who, was pretty much supposedly the genius behind it, the charismatic genius behind the vision. He's supposed to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. He unfortunately was a little bit overconfident, and at best you would say he was overconfident. At worst, you would say that he was what's the word? He was a scam artist, or a what would you say? Yeah, a fraud, a complete fraud in terms of lying to people and making things up and promising things he can never deliver. So ultimately, the Fire Festival turned into a complete disaster, and I'm sure the litigation's still going. I think a couple people went to prison. It was just a big mess, and Ja Rule's name was all over it. Ja Rule was a part of all of this, right? And so ultimately, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if any, and you see some semblances of situations like that emerging with I think not 50 Cent, Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled got involved with a cryptocurrency not too long ago, and they had some issues with that. The Securities and Exchange Commission jumped in and made them pay a massive fine for their involvement with this company, and they didn't know because they were just like, well, I'm just DJ Khaled, and all I do is show up and I just say DJ Khaled, or whatever. I yell out your name and you pay me money, and that's all I know. But unfortunately, his name was tied to something that wasn't so good, and that can happen to anybody. I mean, everybody's done business with somebody where you've been like, okay, I got to cut that off. I know I've been in situations where I've been like, whoa, wait a minute, we can't work together no more because this is not cool. So ultimately, I would wonder, going back to Nas and Will Smith, not that I sense any of this here, but I would love to know, what their percentage of ownership is in the company, because anybody can kind of put a they can put a famous face on their brand. Can pay a celebrity some money to go tweet it out a few times and create that cosign that creates instant customer loyalty and trust. That may or may not be misplaced. So it kind of depends. So I'd like to know what percentage they own. I'd like to understand the business model a little bit better. I'd like to understand, in terms of the fee setup. I assume their fees are going to be competitive with the banking industry, in which case it's not a problem. But there were people, I remember when Russell Simmons came out with the Rush card, Russell had a lot of critics, including my friend Ryan Mack, who felt that the fees were extra high because Russell Simmons' name was on it, and so ultimately, but I kind of think at the end of the day, it's just as good as any other bank. I just I don't agree with the assessment though in the Atlanta Black Star that they're making an investment to teach financial literacy through an app. Maybe you learn financial literacy by having a card and having somebody teach you how to use it properly, but in a way, to say I'm giving you a banking card to teach you financial literacy, I don't know. It's kind of like saying I'm going to teach you how to drive by giving you a car, right? If you give me a car, or if I buy a car from you, I'm probably going to need to learn how to drive, maybe, but that doesn't guarantee I'm going to know how to drive, right? The card allows the young person to go spend money. The card allows the young person to become part of the banking system. The card will allow them to eventually borrow money from the app. I think they mentioned something about loaning people money to buy school books later on when they go to college and things like that. And so I think that, while this card doesn't seem any worse than anything else that's out there, I think that one thing you have to be cautious about is any tool that could end up pushing that young person toward the excessive consumer culture that we have in this society. The problem with the way people spend money in America is they go too deep in debt over things that don't have much value. Like you go $100,000 in debt for your college degree. You'll go, which a lot of you regret right now. If you hate your student loans, just give me a shout out. Tell me you agree. Tell me I hate my student loans. Just let me know I'm not the only one who just was really a little bit confused and disappointed as to why a big chunk of my family wealth went to these universities that act like they didn't even want black people on campus to begin with. But also you have debt that can come from just spending, excessive spending, and so. But the thing about it though is that, by giving young people the power to spend or the power to borrow, the question is, are you really responsible for what they do with that borrowing capacity, right? Debt is a good thing if it's used properly. Debt is a wonderful thing in terms of stimulating economies, giving you opportunities, giving you ways to get things now that you don't want to have to wait for. But debt is like a drug, any drug, any alcohol. If I have a bar This is an ethical issue. You can kind of swirl around your brain. But if I own a bar and I say, look, everybody can drink as much as they want, I'm not going to tell you how much you can drink. I'm giving you freedom. But also when I give you freedom, I'm giving you responsibility. So if you come in my bar and you get drunk and you go get in the car and you kill yourself, some would say that was your decision, that was your choice. But then there are others who say, no, it was your fault for setting the bar up and letting them keep drinking, etc. And that becomes like that liberal conservative divide on that's all over the country. So there are going to be a lot of people that'll use the card with Will Smith and Nas, and it's going to be great, no problems, everything's going to be fine. But there might be other people who get introduced to excessive spending at an early age, irresponsible borrowing at an early age, maybe when they're offering them loans or opportunities to borrow money to go buy these overpriced books on college campuses. They go deep in debt and never able to repay the debt. And believe me, as a banking app, they're going to charge their fees. They do have a plan to come back and get that money, because the big criticism of a lot of these Silicon Valley startups like Uber and others is that they put too much money into that early customer acquisition, because they're all trying to copy off Amazon. They're all trying to do what Amazon did. They're like, okay, we're gonna go get 1 billion customers, and then we'll figure out how to make the money later. But the problem is Uber is losing money like a mug. Let me find this. Hit the thumbs up button while I look this up. Let me see. Let me look this up. Let me see. Uber earnings this year. Let's see. Let me see what I can find here. Uber lost $1 billion in the first quarter of 2019. So at that rate, I don't know if that's standard for them, but yeah, Uber lost. They're losing $1 billion a quarter. So you think Uber is a great company and doing really well because it's Uber. But no, Uber is not making a profit yet. And so the question is, how can Uber have a market value in the billions when they're not even making a profit? They're literally bleeding money. Well, it's because the way stocks are valued is you value based on long-term potential. You look at when you think the company will be profitable, how much profit you think they'll make, what the growth rate is going to be, and then you use a formula, this magic formula called the present value of an annuity formula, and you discount that to the present, and you say, bam, there's the value, there's the long-term value of the company. So it's a lot like having this athlete that you believe is going to go to the NBA, and he's in the 8th grade though, and so you're spending money to send him to basketball camp and get him new sneakers and give him special training, because 8 years down the line or whatever, you believe he's going to go pro and you're going to get all your money back. That's pretty much what's happening. Now the problem is though that the deeper you go and the more investments you make, the more risk you take. So the littlest change in information or the trajectory of that athlete can cause a tremendous shift in the valuation of that potential investment. So a company like an Uber that's built on all these high expectations of long-term profitability, the littlest shift in regulation and in the consumer taste and I don't know, littlest change in the company's operating possibilities, or investment opportunities can cause a massive shift in the stock price. So that's the difference between a growth stock. You guys may take my stock market class. That's the difference between the growth stocks and the value stocks. Growth stocks are based pretty much on potential and hope, almost like going on a first date and you meet the most beautiful woman in the world, and in your mind you're planning, when you're going to have sex and when you're going to start dating, when you're going to get married and all this other stuff, but you're living kind of on a dream. So a lot of these companies are living on a dream. So this company seems to be kind of in that Silicon Valley tradition where they're going to go accumulate a lot of market share, build up the app, build up a massive customer base, maybe eventually go public, and that's when the Will Smiths and the Nas's, I believe, are probably going to consider exiting and selling their shares and walking away with that 10, 20, 50, $100 million payday. It's not a bad business model. I mean, I don't know. But then again, it could become a Ponzi scheme. So be very careful about that. Don't get excited. Don't buy. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. Sorry. I don't buy the latest, hottest IPOs. I just don't. Because there's a lot of evidence out there to say that most of these hot, exciting IPOs out of Silicon Valley are significantly overpriced. I don't mess with that. So that's my 2 cents, but I'm going to go. All right. So have a good night, everybody. My woman wants me to go upstairs and go to bed, but I had to talk about this because I just respect Nas and Will Smith a lot, and I really wish them the very best in their venture. And I'm going to try out the card. I'm going to take a look at it. Maybe it's something worth taking a look at. Who knows? All right. So hit the thumbs up button before you go. Please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Also, if you want to talk about finances every single day of the week, subscribe at theblackfinancialchannel.com. THE. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. We do financial news and commentary with a black spin for black people, and I'm I'm qualified to do it because, damn it, I'm a finance professor and I worked hard for my PhD and I got the student loans to prove it. All right. So anyway, guys, I respect you too, Janaea. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aristotle. Thank you, Michael Grant. Thank you, Nadine. And much love to everybody. Please hit the thumbs up button before you go. Also, subscribe. Also, last but not least, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. And also, of course, it's summertime and we actually have financial literacy workbooks we invented for Black children. So if you want to take a look at the workbooks for your kids, go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.